Hey, Larry, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
What's up, man? It's been a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just kind of roll through some of the things we were talking about today and get your input on them. First, your thoughts on the Warriors trading for Chris Paul and moving Jordan Poole, and then did they move too fast now that Damian Lillard wants out of Portland?
No, I never would have seen Dame as a viable option here. I mean, aside from the money, the commitment there is vast, but also I just don't see how that would work. Dame needs the ball in his hands. Steph can play off the ball, but, you have too many mouths to feed is what I would say on that. So I know, Ramona Shelburne reported that they could have waited. I just never would have seen that. And if I'm Portland, why would I trade with the Warriors? I've got to go through the Warriors. So I don't know. Maybe there was something there, but I just could have never envisioned that, even though it would have been really cool to see just Steph and Dame on the court at the same time. The Chris Paul thing is frankly going to take – dude, we spent like the last 10, 12 years despising this guy. So it's going to – I mean, I assume once he makes one play or he's flopping for us, for the Warriors, then, everybody goes, yes, Chris Paul. But, yeah, when they did that, the rumors were out there, and I was like, I don't know. As far as the Poole thing goes, I felt for a long time that they had to move him for a variety of reasons. The punch started it, but when you go 8 months and you never really resolve the issue, and from what I was told from a variety of people within the organization, they never really had the big come-to-Jesus meeting with everybody sitting down in the room, and with Poole and Draymond and Kerr and Myers at the time, and maybe even Joe Lacob, that they never even had that meeting. And I can only assume it was because Jordan didn't want to have it. And so that plus the money made it obvious that something had to give there. Somebody had to go because they can't afford all these guys.
Yeah, Larry, you know what? Under Steve Kerr, the Warriors got the 4 championships. I can't. How dare I even question anything about the Warriors culture with 4 titles? But hearing Draymond Green with Paul George, I don't know if you heard that sound about his relationship with Kuminga or their lack of. That shocked me, Larry. It's like, how in the heck are you the Draymond Green that I think you are and not build or flower or nurture that relationship to where you can lead Jonathan Kuminga? No wonder he wasn't a viable option for the Warriors come playoff time against the Lakers. Can you just share with me, did that shock you like it shocked me? And it's got me a little bit questioning this Warriors culture, which didn't rectify the Jordan Poole situation.
I think there are some cracks in the culture that they need to really figure out. And look, this is what happens when you get to the end of a decades-long run. You go back to Bill Walsh, and he would tell you, at a certain point, everybody's just tired of hearing your story. Whatever, they've heard it a million times already. And I think we're kind of at that point with this team. As far as the young guys and whether it's Draymond and Kuminga or others with Poole, you're seeing that all throughout the league, where veterans are going, who are these guys that just, got out of high school, can't even, buy a drink or shave yet? And, they're thinking they're the best thing that ever happened to the franchise. This is happening league-wide, and it's part of what you get with the young guys coming in, and when you're trying to do your 2 timelines, which now, I mean, in retrospect, don't you think it was almost too absurd of a fantasy to think that was really going to work unless somebody was going to make a dramatic jump in year 2, whether it had been Kuminga or Moody or, Wiseman just never even really got started. I wanted to believe it, but it seemed like the longer we went on with this, it was clear that was never going to work. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I think it is funny how it works, Larry, because now I look back and say, well, wait a minute, why couldn't we see that drafting 2 projects might not lead to them immediately playing? You know what I mean? It was so obvious. Now, had they gone out and gotten a Halliburton or maybe LaMelo Ball, we might be talking about it a little bit differently. But even if you look behind the guys after Wiseman, between like 5 and 10, there's just guys. Some are better than the others, but no, I'm kind of with you. I mean, how many of those guys could have helped right away?
At 19 or 20?
Yeah.
I mean, you just think about, obviously, none of us were blessed to be, 6'7", 6'8", or I don't know, maybe 7-2 now if Burke is right with Kaminga.
Yeah.
Like what? Anything you saw on television now, just anything, it's just absurd to me. So. Remember Steiny, where you used to have an editor check your work and make sure that's not anything, just say anything on TV, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I don't know what it would have been like to be 19 years old, jump out of the gym and have everybody fawning over you, and then go into a situation where, sorry, you don't get any minutes. I will say this, though, with all the things that have gone wrong with these picks, and yeah, that was a down draft and all this stuff, I still remember sitting there. You were probably there that night. When we're watching the draft, I'm sitting next to a Donald Foyle, and for reasons we don't really understand, Kaminga is dropping. At one point, he was going to be the number 1 pick in the draft, then he was going to be top 3, then he was going to be top 5, and then suddenly he's sitting there at 7. Now, I thought because he would have been long gone, Franz Wagner was my guy. And if they would have just had Franz Wagner last year, this guy, he knows how to play. That's what they need, and that's why I think they went older this year. He gets 20 for the Magic. Okay, you're going to get points and shots on a bad team, but he just understands how to play, and that's what they've lacked with the influx of young guys coming in, and that's why I think they obviously went with Trace Jackson Davis, get a veteran college player who has some physicality. But all the projects, if you got to win right now, a 19-year-old probably is going to get you there unless his name is LeBron or Wembanyama.
Love it. Larry, I came in today and Steiny was like, "Dude, what are you feeling?" And we came up with this question. I'm going to throw it to you like we've thrown to the listeners. Of the 3 local Bay Area teams, the Giants, Niners, and Warriors, in the next 3 years, who do you think will have the most success? And before you answer, I had the Niners, Steiny had the Giants. How would Larry Beil answer that question?
Cool. I'm with you. Niners, Warriors, Giants in that order is my pick. That's probably the majority of the picks. The Niners are loaded. I mean, their rosters that get the highest paid player at almost every position. So they got
not the most important one
going forward. You're not going to be able to pay anybody, or you're going to have to release some really popular dudes. But the Warriors, I want to believe they're there.
Yeah,
I still don't see them quite. Straight up right now, this roster against Denver, assuming everybody. Well, they don't have Brown back for Denver. I don't know. We still, it's when your biggest guy is 6'9" and you got to deal with Jokic and the Nuggets in the finals. It's obvious just how big, how long they were. To me, that's a problem for the Warriors. And if the Nuggets' big team is better than your biggest because you don't even have any, and their small team can hang with your smalls, you got a real problem. Because the Warriors, that used to be the Warriors' advantage, small ball. Now everybody in the league can go to one of those lineups. That's not a given anymore. Anyway, and the Giants, I don't know.
You're not excited, Larry.
Well, I get hyped up every year with, okay, it's going to be Correa, or next year it's going to be Ohtani, or next year, I just, they need more pitching. I do love the fact that we're finally starting to see the young guys come in and play for them and make significant contributions, because that's what's really been lacking in recent years. So I'm pumped more about the future 2 or 3 years down the road, not necessarily winning a title this year or next year. But could you imagine if let's just say Larry Bear got out Charles Johnson's checkbook and wrote $600 million Shohei Ohtani. How crazy the park would be.
Incredible.
Every single night.
You'd probably put the Giants number 1 then, wouldn't you?
Well, we might have to revise my list.
Especially if the 49ers don't get themselves a quarterback.
But they have 3 quarterbacks.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Brock Purdy.
Please.
Mighty Purdy. Come on, let's go. I'm fine with Brock Purdy. You
better be. You better be 49er fans.
Are you that much of a disbeliever?
No, I think their quarterback position's just good enough to get them beat at some point in the season.
Well, that may be, but he also could be just good enough to win a championship.
You're right.
They have so many weapons. Just don't screw it up. I mean, obviously, the one thing I will say, because we said the same thing about Jimmy G, is that Purdy has this just pocket awareness and presence that you see some really refined quarterbacks. I mean, Brady was the master at it. I mean, he couldn't run fast straight ahead for anything, but if he saw a guy charging at him, he could move 6 inches to his left, and suddenly it was not a problem. Purdy has some of that, and he is able to improv and make plays off script that I think sets him apart from some of the others. I don't think he's just another Nick Mullins or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not to denigrate Nick, but I think he has some special qualities that the entire league missed, which is mind-boggling when you consider the tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars that NFL teams spend on scouting. How do you miss? How do you pick 261 other players before somebody takes that guy? How?
Yeah, I'm with you, Larry. This is random. This is what I do, but I'm gonna lay this on you. We were joined by Rick Bucher yesterday, and he brought up Steve Kerr and his future. And I take Steve Kerr for granted. I think a lot of Dub Nation does. And we see Draymond get his deal. I expect Clay to get his deal, and the big three to ride off together whenever that is. But I never envisioned another coach. When I bring up Steve Kerr's future to you, what comes to mind?
That's a good question. I know Steve has some other aspirations that I cannot reveal, but that go beyond coaching. Just he and I have been friends for a while, long before he was coaching the Dubs. But I still see him being the coach during the remaining Curry days, whatever, or years, whatever that is. I think it would be hard to change. Too much change is not good. One of the things that really works, in professional sports is consistency over time. And if the bad teams are the teams, remember the old Kings? Like every 2 years, it didn't matter who the coach was; they were going to get rid of him no matter what. And you have that constant instability. And the Warriors have had a little bit too much of that this past year and a half or so. I think they need to just have the same voice. And look, has anybody won more and been bashed more than Steve Kerr in terms of his success? He's got 4 championship rings, but you listen to JD on the postgame show, and people think he's just some bum off the bus stop. Like he doesn't know what he's doing at all. Are you serious?
Could have 6 too, Larry. It could have 6 rings.
Did you not watch The Last Dance? Did you not? I mean, the guy's got 9 rings. 9. Okay, maybe the first, you could say 1 or 2 might have been an accident. Okay. All right, 3 or 4, maybe he got lucky again. He has 9. 9, okay? So, like, at some point, as frustrated as we get with the rotations, and this guy's not playing, and that guy's upset, and all this, yeah, it's the NBA. Nobody's happy. They're all making $100 million, and everybody wants to leave their team. I don't know. It's nuts, man.
Hey, Larry, appreciate the time.
You.
Really good hearing from you, and enjoy the rest of your summer.
You too. Let's visit again. We'll do it soon, and we'll talk Niners once we get close.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. That's Larry Beil, news and sports anchor at KGO-TV, former ESPN Sports Center anchor Larry Beil.